We'll talk a little bit about the Southern Tennis Foundation and why we are here tonight, and the Southern Tennis Foundation scholarships. About 10 years ago, the foundation established 2 scholarships, $1,000 scholarships for 4 years to go to incoming college freshmen. And that has been very successful, and its interest and applications increased. We increased the number of scholarships so that it now stands at 10 scholarships. And next year we expect to present 12 scholarships. Again, the scholarships are $1,000 a year for 4 years, and they're renewable based on the performance of the student. The requirements to apply for the scholarship: number one, you must be a USTA member and you must reside in one of the 9 southern states. Your household income has got to be under $100,000 a year, and if you have 2 children in school, we'll increase that limit to $125,000 a year. You can't already have a full college scholarship, and you must have been an active tennis player for at least 2 years. This scholarship is not intended for high-level tournament players, although it could go to them. But you can be involved in tennis as a tournament player, or you could be a high school player, or you could be a junior team tennis or an NJTL player. The criteria for selection: the top criteria is financial need and academics performance. We also consider extracurricular activities, tennis participation, and then the students write an essay and we request a letter of recommendation. And if any of you'd like to learn more about the scholarships and the past recipients of these scholarships, I encourage you to visit southerntennisfoundation.com, where you can see pictures of our former winners and learn more about the scholarships. Over the last 2 years, the foundation's Major Gifts Committee has been working to endow some of these scholarships. And Ron, would you please share the screen now with the list of donors? While I'm talking, if Ron would share that, hopefully that'll pop up. We're here tonight to announce that so many people respect, admire, and love Coach Paul Scarpa, that we, the people who are on this list, all together, we have raised $60,000, Coach, to endow 2 scholarships in your name and in your honor. Everybody on this list are those who made this possible. I don't know, Ron, it's not showing on my screen. Can you get that up or not? If you can, do
you see a Zoom screen up there?
I see I see something, but it's got a bunch of emails on it. Okay. So if you can't get it up, it's no big deal. We'll share
get there.
We'll
keep going. I'll keep working.
Okay, we'll share it with Coach Scarpa later if we can't get it up. But anyhow, we have raised $60,000, Coach, to endow 2 scholarships in your honor, and we have a number of donors, many of whom are on the call tonight. Based on the receipt of the funds for these scholarships, 1 scholarship will begin and be presented this year, and a second will begin in 2022, and so in 2022 we'll be presenting 2 Paul Scarpa scholarships. And of course, these scholarships will continue in perpetuity. So here's the list of names. Ron, you may need to scroll up on that because it ends with about the 5th name. So hopefully we got everybody's name on there. Sometimes I'm a little hesitant to publish a list, but hopefully we got everybody's name. I think some may have wanted to be listed with a spouse, and I got that list at the very last minute, so we may not have updated this quite as much as you may have wanted, but it will be updated when we present it to Paul, so he will know. So congratulations, Paul, on this. We hope you will consider this an honor, and a thank you for all you have done, not only for us, but for Furman University and for tennis, especially tennis in the USTA Southern section. So Ron, you can remove that screen now. We do have several special guests with us tonight, and I'd like to call on those guests. And first, Ron, if you would unmute Derek White, who is from Pooler, Georgia, and Derek is the chairman of the Southern Tennis Foundation. Derek, if you would unmute yourself, go ahead.
All right, can you hear me?
We can.
Coach, first I want to say hello. My mom tells me that, or she did tell me, some of the places you've been and the people you've met. So I know I'm a better person now for having met you, Coach. I've read a lot about you, and am truly honored to be able to talk tonight. Rex gave me only a minute, so let me get to it. On behalf of the Southern Tennis Foundation, I want to thank you deeply for for sharing your name and your legacy with us. Our mission is to grow and promote the game of tennis through our programming and through providing financial aid to those that need it. You know, Coach, an organization is only as good as its people and its efforts and its programs. And being associated with you definitely strengthens our worth, our credibility, and our presence in the sport. And on a personal note, Coach, I want to say you've got to be one of the richest people I know. And I don't mean your bank account, and I don't mean your portfolio. What I mean is a person's self-worth is directly proportionate to their service to others. And when I went back and looked at all of your accomplishments, you have truly served people. You are the epitome of servanthood. So thank you for all that you've done, for all the students you've touched, all the players you've touched, and for your personal promotion and growth of the game of tennis. On behalf of the Southern Tennis Foundation, Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you, Derek. And next I'll call on Paul Pittman. Paul is the chair of the Major Gifts Committee for the Southern Tennis Foundation. Paul? You need to unmute. You have an unmute button?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, well, first, thank you, Rex. And Coach, I'd just like to add my congratulations to all of those that you're going to receive tonight. You've certainly been an example and an inspiration for all of us. I'd also like to offer some thanks first to the members of the Southern Tennis Foundation Major Gift Committee who've been working for several years to increase the fundraising capacity of the foundation. Secondly, I'd like to thank the members of the South Carolina task force of that committee who have worked very hard within South Carolina and who were actually the group that came up with the idea of naming and endowing scholarships for exceptional figures in the world of tennis. And finally, I'd like to thank the three people who led the charge in this particular effort, Tracy Hardaway, Bobby Austell, and Rex Maynard. Thanks to all of you. Good job.
Thank you, Paul. And you led me right into, I'm going to introduce Bobby Austell, who was on the fundraising committee. Bobby?
Ed Good sent me an email just seconds ago, said keep it brief, so I will, Paul. There's a lot I could say, but what I want to go back to is in 2004, when I retired from a 40-year business career and had the opportunity to coach an elite high school tennis team. And I had people telling me, you do not want to do this. And so I called you and asked if I could come out and sit down with you, and you convinced me why I ought to do that. And I walked out of there with more tools to be a coach than anybody's ever had. And I want to thank you for that. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bobby. And next I'd like to call on Tracy Hardaway. Tracy's got a brand new hip, so she's got a big smile on her face. Tracy. Can you unmute?
I got it.
Good.
I got it.
Good.
I got it.
Okay.
So Paul, when we decided to do this, we knew that we needed to do it anonymously at first and not tell you because you were way too modest. And I want to thank you for being the person you are and all of the influence that you've given all of us. I still remember the first time I ever thought about playing tennis. I went to a thing at the Indoor Racket Club, and you were talking about how to play tennis, and you talked about stacks of books on a table, and you were taking your forehand and swiping the books. And luckily, I don't know whether it was that great advice that got me, but I went from not ever playing tennis to Charles and I actually won a couple of state titles in the mixed doubles, and I just attribute it all to your great guidance. And we're thrilled to be here, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. We appreciate you. We appreciate you carrying Charles to those state titles. That's amazing. Good job. Good job.
I had a good
Well,
partner.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we thought also tonight that some of you might like to say a word. And so we're going to give you that opportunity now. It needs to be very brief because we do have a number of people on the call. And I do want to unmute Coach Scarpa at about 7:30 and give him a little time to say one or two things. So Coach, be thinking about what you're going to say. I know you may have a hard time speaking, but we're going to give you an opportunity sooner or later. So one option is down along the bottom of your screen, you probably have a little button that says chat. So number one, you can type in a note to Coach Scarpa if you'd like to do that rather than speaking. So that's one option. The other option, if you just type your name in, I'll call you. And if the chat doesn't work, just wave your hands at me and I'll call on you that way. So I see right now Nancy Jurgen Furman is waving her hand. So Nancy, I'm gonna call on you first.
All right. Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay, great. Well, I tell you, when you give somebody 30 seconds to talk about Paul, it's pretty hard. Just like Paul being muted is hard for him. But, you know, when I think about Paul, I think about the many, many, many lives that he's impacted over all these years, different ages, every ability level, and people from South Carolina, just, I mean, all over the country. Everybody loves Paul. But I thought of three words when I think about Paul. I thought of heart, I thought of passion, and I thought of opportunity. And y'all know this, Paul always poured his heart into his players, his friends, his family, his camps. I mean, most of the players that came to Furman to play for him went to his camps. And those camps were legendary. Talking about the corrective techniques, Tracy. And then Paul was at those camps 24/7. I mean, he never left, I don't think, for 3 months that those camps every summer for years and years. And then passion, Paul's passion was just contagious. He made you want to give your very best effort, and he just pulled it out of you. I mean, and also I know for me, I mean, if I had all of us, if we had a 30-minute lesson, he gave us an hour or 2-hour lesson. It was just amazing. And then opportunity. Paul was known for always giving everyone a chance. I mean, how many players did you have on the team, Paul? 20, 30, 40? I mean, it was unbelievable. All those players would stay eager and ready because they knew that Paul would give them the opportunity. And so it's just so deserving that we celebrate Paul and giving others the opportunity to pursue their heart and passion for tennis with this scholarship in your honor, Paul. We love you. I know I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Next up is Dave Ellison. Dave, can you unmute yourself?
Can y'all hear me?
We can. Go ahead.
All right, thanks, Rex. Paul, you're a great husband, a great dad, a great mentor, a great inventor, and a great friend. You have inspired tennis players across the gamut, from little children to teenage Nancy Jurgen Furman, to college great Ned Caswell, and everybody has fun while you're teaching them. While you are a man's man and a fierce competitor, you are also a gentleman. I don't know if you remember this, but I still remember 53 years ago on my recruiting visit to Furman, you scolding me for not opening the car door for my mother. And incidentally, everybody, Paul still brings my mother flowers. There is no one, Paul, at Furman who is more loved by those you touched over the 45 years you were there. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dave. I see Richard Holloway waving his hands. Richard, unmute Richard if you would, Ron. Richard Hardaway.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can. Come ahead.
Good. Paul, I just wanted to say that you have been a significant influence on many, many people throughout the decades. I first remember meeting you in Charleston, South Carolina, as probably a 10-year-old. But through the years and your encouragement and development of players like myself, just know you have many students out there who love you. And I wish you all the congratulations that this meeting is bringing to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Next up is Steve Price. Steve, can you unmute Steve Price?
Sure will. Go ahead, unmute yourself. Thank you.
Coach, you have known me my whole life. In fact, you knew about me before I was even born when you and Dad were at Fort Jackson together. And in the fall of 1981, I was visiting colleges, and in November, I was on my way home from a recruiting trip at the University of Illinois. And in my mind on that trip home, I was saying, you know, I'm going to call Coach Louderback next week and tell him I'm signing with the University of Illinois. And I got home, and there was a letter that had arrived that weekend while I was gone that my mama gave me. In fact, it was this letter. And this letter was from you saying, before you make your final decision, please just give us a chance. And the next weekend I came down for a visit, and that letter and that decision changed my life. Thank you for who you are and for what you've done for so many over the years.
And I'm sure I'm glad he went to Furman then, so I could meet him.
Amen to that.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Anybody else want to wave your hand? I don't see anybody else in my chat. I see Charles. Charles wants to say something. Charles Hardaway. Unmute Tracy again, Ron.
Sure will.
Okay.
There we
Okay,
are.
Charles.
Okay, I'm getting off on a little sidebar here, but there's no doubt in my mind that David Holly has dyed his hair before this Zoom meeting.
At least he's got hair.
and it needs to pass that bottle of Mr. Knickerbocker's jet black hair dye to Dave Ellison and Richard Hardaway. But getting back to Coach Scarpa, I want to tell you what, I worked for him one summer at the Greenville Country Club, and he was the hardest working tennis pro that I have ever seen. I would come into work at 8 o'clock, and I said, well, when's Scarpa getting here? And the answer was, oh, he's already been out teaching 2 lessons already. and he would work all day till like 8 o'clock, 1,000 degrees. And on the weekends, Friday afternoon, he'd get through 10 lessons and he'd hop in his car and drive off a couple hundred miles to go play a weekend tennis tournament somewhere. But Paul, I mean, one of the attributes that nobody's brought up is how cool Paul is. And my definition of a cool person is they don't know they're cool. They're just being who they are. And so Paul is a super cool guy, and this is a great honor for him. Thank you.
Okay, Charles, thank you. I want to call on Coach Debbie Southern. Coach?
All right, thank you, Rex. I was 25 years old when I got the job at Furman and worked with Paul for several decades. And I just want to say, Paul, I admire you so much. I've never seen anyone recruit at Furman as well as you did. You would spend an entire day of your day at Furman with someone that might not even be in your top 20. And I was just amazed at how well you could recruit. I see Elizabeth and Seth on this call and remember them as when they were such small children. And I worked your camp, and you put me in the dorm to try to keep some, calmness in the dorm. And I remember coming in one night and you were in the bushes under this window. And I was like, Coach, what are you doing? You were like, I just got to scare them. It's Thursday night and they're all going to sneak out on Thursday night at camp. And I was like, Coach, you don't need to be doing this. I can do that for you. I'll man the halls, But it was just a pleasure, and it's such an honor to have worked with you and been beside you for so many years. You taught me so much, and I just want to congratulate you and Sandy. You both look great, and it's great to see your faces. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. And we got about 5 minutes left. So Chuck Rainey, you got your name up here, Chuck. If you can unmute Chuck, please, Ron.
Yeah, thanks, Paul and Sandy. So great to see you guys tonight. So Paul, you made such a meaningful impact on me, both of my Furman days, and just want to let you know that impact continues. So I take the chance tonight to highlight 2 of those. So first of those is I had knee surgery today, and I'd like to give you, Paul, partial credit for that knee surgery. All those days after practice, running the steps of the football stadium and running all around the Furman campus. So Paul, so thank you for those runs and my surgery today, and I appreciate that. And secondly, we all know how important family is to you. I'm happy to say that my son, Charlie, is a sophomore at Furman now. He chose Furman over some really great schools like University of Virginia, Chapel Hill here in North Carolina, where we live. And I give Coach a lot of credit for that. All the stories that my kids have heard about Furman and both the tennis days and the non-tennis days. And it's just a big part of our family. So Coach, great to see you. Thanks for everything you've done for me and for my family, and really appreciate it.
Next up is Seth Scarpa. Seth? Can you unmute Seth Scarpa? I think he may be listed as Zoom user on there.
All right, am I unmuted here?
You're good.
Okay, good.
All right, I got my daughter doing it for me.
Right.
Well, Daddy, just as always, super proud of you. I wasn't coached by you, but I wasn't every time I got off a soccer field or a tennis coach, but you as my dad. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a Chick-fil-A operator here in Beaufort, South Carolina. My daughter and I are sitting in the truck right now, but as I sit here and watch, I'm just reminded we've been closed for 8 weeks, and tomorrow we'll reopen our restaurant after.
We lost you, Scass. We lost you. There you come. You're back.
I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but as I sit here and I think about all the folks that I work with in my restaurant, I'm reminded of just why I love what I do, and it's really you love and cared for people, and that example of just your players, people you taught tennis to, people that have worked for you at tennis camp. I mean, just the love and admiration people have for you is a direct response to just the care and the love that you've shown them. And so it's been a phenomenal example for me. I know Elizabeth, and I just get to reproduce that. I may not be coaching tennis, but I'm selling chicken, and I just get to invest in the hearts and lives of people based on the example you set forth. And so just grateful for that. And then secondly, I mean, I don't ever need an honor. The greatest honor I have is calling you daddy. And every time you win an award, it's a joy for me to look at and see and be like, that's my dad. And that's just, to me, it's the greatest honor. I'm the only son you have. And so I will forever be just honored to be that person. And so love you and proud of you.
Thank you, Seth. Amen to that. Amen to that. Is that Ron? It's another Zoom user. I think that may be Elizabeth. I'm not sure. Would you?
It is.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, everybody. Just thank you so much to the committee, the donors, and the foundation for honoring my dad. I feel the same way as my brother. The greatest honor of our life is to be his child and for him to be the grandfather of our children. When I think about dad, I always think about his hands, whether they're hugging you, loving you, encouraging you. And I'm making an example here. I don't know how many balls he can hold in one hand, but it's 8. And it's only fitting that it be my mom, Seth, me, Cynthia, Seth's wife, Banks, his first grandson, Charlotte, Blair, Millie, and then my son. Well, I think he holds us most dear. I think of all the other balls he's been surrounded by his whole life. And I feel like those are the people that he has touched and influenced. And it just goes on and on forever. And so does his love for each one of y'all and each one of his players. And we just can't be more proud of you, Dad. We love you.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Amen to that too. Well, I think the time is here. Ron, I guess we're going to have to unmute Coach Scarpa. So, Paul, we got about 9 minutes left. So we'd love to hear from you.
There we go.
Well, I'm super honored. I had no idea. Sandy told me about something. Y'all go Zoom. I said, Zoom what? What is that? But anyhow, I have a great, every one of you I can remember. I don't remember a lot, but I remember everything about tennis and those who have been around me in tennis. And all of y'all are special. And Sandy has been a great wife and sort of allowing me to do a lot with tennis camp and when I was working and she was taking care of the kids but it's I look back, I mean, even and one of my greatest honors was going to Belton and winning that tournament. It was special. And I remember I could tell you a lot of stories that you probably have forgotten about. But all the kids came from everywhere. I remember staying in the gym and it was so well run. And the only thing is, you didn't know whose court you were playing on next morning, so you couldn't get any extra practice. But truly, I'm just, the people who I taught were those who wanted to be, were dedicated enough to want to pursue it. And look back now, they spent a lot of hours. I spent some hours too, but it was great. But everyone, I mean, a story about all of them. Dave Ellison come into Furman, and he was like, I got him to be, when he graduated, he went in the service and came back. He was an assistant coach, and then I developed some tapes because I putting down on tennis courts, and he was involved in helping run that company, and then Frances Ellison, who Bill was her brother, and her mother and father were so generous to me when I first came to the club. They sort of adopted me, and they had a lady there who cooked very well named Belle, and she took care of me pretty well. But to you, Lex, I know the dedication you put into it, and it's just remarkable how much you've done, and to walk through that complex down there, I'm thinking, wow, it is remarkable, and every one of these people appreciate that, because I know most of them are in there, and so I don't know what else to say, but thank you all for the kind remarks. I'm really touched by them, believe me, and I don't take them lightly, and I try to live my life, accordingly, and so again, I can't say anything but kind things, and I appreciate it. It's quite an honor to have everybody step in and do this. So,
Coach,
thank
that's
you.
great. That's great. I appreciate the kudos to Belton.
Well,
It's always good. I don't know what kind of road you had to get on to come to Belton in 1957.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you it wasn't 4-lane. Still not
Yeah.
4-lane though, is it?
But it was beautiful, and of course the Shirleys and the Blakes and the Daniels and all just became really good friends. And that's what I remember about tennis is, how close the community was. Ben Gehrke's from Greenville. Everybody played Belton. If you didn't play Belton, you just didn't play tennis. I mean, so that was a huge thing. And I'll tell you one little story. I guess I won Belton, and that allowed me to go to the Nationals in Louisville. And I asked the guy, I'm staying in the YMCA, and I asked the guy where the tournament's being played, He said, "Oh, you just go right out the door and turn left." And he didn't realize I didn't have a car to drive. And I went I started down the road, and it was about 8 miles to the site where they played the tournament. But I got picked up by the coach the Belton folks, Coach Anderson, and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to tennis." "Have you realized how far that is?" And I said, "It's right down the road. I'm okay." Anyhow, and so I went down there, and they gave me a ride, which was really appreciated.
That's the great thing about tennis, Coach, is I think everybody on this call would agree that you make no better friends than you do through tennis, and you make life partners and lifelong friends. And I'm proud to consider you one as well, even though you should have coached me, because I needed some help. But
everybody can use a little help.
You can only do so much with what you got. So you have been a great mentor to all of us and so many people, and we're glad we could do this as a testament to what you have done and what you meant to all of us. And we will share with you the list of donors, so you'll have that, and also email contacts as well. I want to thank again Bobby and Tracy for leading the effort. We got together back in, I guess it was in October, at the Kroc Center to plan all this out. And we appreciate all of you on the call, and some who are not on the call, for your support, because without that, obviously, it wouldn't have been possible. And we appreciate you, not only what you did, but I know a number of you reached out to a number of other people and asked them to participate as well. So all together, we were able to do it, and it's a great thing. It's a great thing for the Southern Tennis Foundation. It's a great thing for South Carolina, and I think it's a great way to honor Coach Scarpa. So
thank you, and everybody. You can't say all the things, not the nice things, but everybody there that I've spoken tonight, to me, has been special. I mean, Stephen Price's dad, I was in the foxhole at Fort Jackson. He was a lieutenant, and he came by and said, "Are you Scarpa, the fellow that played at Florida State?" I said, "Yes, sir." And I jumped up and gave him a salute. The next thing you know, he got me into his platoon and company, and we ended up playing tennis at Fort Jackson every day at 3 o'clock. and then Bobby sent me a number of kids from over when he was doing Christ Church coaching, and no, I've been blessed, really. Yep.
Well, that's living proof. It's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that goes a long way. Before we end the call, if there's anybody else, we do have a few minutes left. If anybody else wants to say something, Ed Good, could you unmute Ed Good, Ron?
Sure am. Ed, unmute yourself.
I believe Ed's the chairman of the board of trustees at Furman, if I'm not mistaken.
There you are, Ed.
When you're right there.
Thank you. Am I unmuted?
You're good.
Yes,
You're good.
Thank you,
Well, I
Rex.
hope you
I appreciate the opportunity to be on the call and to be involved. And I thank Tracy for thinking about me and calling me, and I'm happy to support this. Paul Scarpa is one of the most impressive people I've encountered in my 75 years. What a heart, just an incredible career. One of probably, if not the best ambassador Furman University has had. He's certainly in the top 5. If not the best, he's certainly one of the best ambassadors the game of tennis has had, not just in the state of South Carolina, but in the whole country. My sweet wife just sat down here.
I love him.
She's a big fan of his
And Sandy.
too. But I'm not going to repeat things that have been said. But I'll just say, Paul, we love you and we thank you and we appreciate all that you've meant to us and to our school and to everybody you've touched, and you've touched thousands.
Thank you, Ed. We're gonna call on the guy with the dark hair, the 29-year-old David Holly.
Where is he?
Unmute David Holly, please, Ron.
I got you.
There you are.
Thank you, Rex. Charles, I am not Mike Krzyzewski. My hair is not dark. Okay, I do not put black shoe polish on it. My hair is gray. It's just that Dave Ellison's hair is so white. That's what you're seeing. Of course, Dave and I were the best doubles team to ever play at Furman University. And Coach will love this story, but our junior year and Dave's junior year and my freshman year, we won the #1 doubles in the Southern Conference. Well, the next year, we got demoted to the #2 team in the Southern Conference. So we won that anyway. But anyway, Coach, everybody has said so many great things about you. And 42 years I worked at Greenville Country Club, and I was able to work 42 years at Greenville Country Club because I learned from you. And this has been a tough night. And Mary Allison, I love you. Thank you for everything.
Thank you, David. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you did at Greenville Country Club all those many, many years, all those great tournaments you had and all the kids you taught to. So that's
well, everybody here on this Zoom, Richard, Charles, Tracy, David, Francis, Nancy. Oh, forgot Nancy. Debbie. Gosh, Debbie worked with me a couple of years. And during the summer, like you said, great friends through the game of tennis. But now I'm playing golf, and T. Hooper and I are just taking the money away from everybody and at the Greenville Country Club now playing golf. So we're enjoying it.
Way to go.
Coach Sandy, Mary Alice and I, we love you.
Love you too.
I want to ask Coach if you're right about that best doubles team that ever played at Furman. We'll just let that be assumed, I guess, right now. Well, it looks like to me that I don't want somebody to get cut off in the middle. So we did have a certain time limit on this call. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And I want to thank you for what you did. And congratulations, Coach Paul Scarpa, and special thanks again to Sandy. You must have pulled a real coup to get him on a computer Zoom call. So thanks so much. for doing
You're
that.
welcome.
And we hope to see you all soon. Everybody stay safe and healthy during this pandemic. I said, looking at this group, I expect most of us are eligible for the vaccine. So I hope you've been vaccinated. If you hadn't, you will be soon. So stay healthy, stay safe, and come see us in Belton someday. Good night.